Hi Leo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your March 2021 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, once again, a reminder not to be scammed by anybody in the comment box pretending to be me offering you a reading. This person is a scammer. They are not me. Do not be scammed. All right, with that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right, let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Okay. Show me clearly, guide this reading, and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly, guide this reading, and show me clearly. Fantastic. Let's look at the chakra energy that will be affecting you during this time. How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Fantastic. And then let's see what the spirit message is for this time. How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. This one right here. Fantastic. All right. Now we're going to see how everything about this moon, this full moon, is in Libra. It's a very powerful full moon because it is also okay, so it's polarizing energy with where the sun is positioned in Aries. So this full moon brings a little bit of conflict with it, but it also brings a whole bunch of resolution because it brings out the conflict within ourselves, which doesn't sound as brilliant as it actually is. So the left-hand side is our inner self. The middle is our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So we have the Ten of Swords, which shows that conflict instantaneously. We have the Tower, which is reiterating it. The Page of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, so amplifying that full moon in Libra. And then we have the moon. So there is a great connection with this moon for you during this time here, Leo. It's just going to make us feel things more intensely. There's a shift that's going on. There's something that's coming to a head, things that are really coming together. So let's see. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Yep. Crowning our hearts is a change. Things are turning a quarter. We have the repeat of the number 10, which shows that we're coming to a completion of a cycle. We have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy, time frame May 21st to June 20th. We have the King of Swords, amplifying that Gemini energy, and also the Libra full moon. So Swords energy is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. There you go. And we have the Eight of Wands. Excuse me. We then have the Two of Pentacles. There's a lot that is coming into balance. The Eight of Wands is a change coming. There's a lot of change here. For the better, yes, but also a lot of things that have changed that are starting to kind of equalize themselves. Okay, so we've been through a tumultuous time. There has been doubts and fears and thinking, oh my gosh, I'll never get to where it is that I want to be, or just with the world in general, things will never go back to normal. And there's a sense here of things coming into balance as we balance ourselves. The Seven of Pentacles, all right, prosperity, but also patience, opens up the world to us in an astounding way and brings us to the Knight of Wands, which is ourselves right now. And we are, of course, represented by the wands in the minor arcana, by the Emperor, no, not by the Emperor, by the Strength card in the major arcana. But there's this severe link to Aries, which is the Emperor, okay, which is where the sun is at this time. And there's this sense of so many things coming at us all at once. And I feel this from Spirit. It's like everything's coming at us and we're seeing things so differently. And it's kind of like shifting through everything quick enough to be able to stay on top, you know, to be able to get to where it is that we want to be. So there are questions that definitely come up, but there are also exquisite answers that are coming our way. And it's kind of like, this is, I want to say the calm after the storm, but it's not like there's going to be another storm. It's like, this is when we start to get our footing, when we start to see things more clearly. Now, this moon, of course, as Spirit stated before, is in Libra. And what's really interesting about this moon on the 28th is that it also brings us into, it also at this time of this moon has Venus, the Sun, and Chiron coming into alignment. The moon also forms a grand trine, which is very, very powerful. So a lot of things are going on. And we also have the polarization of Aries and Libra coming forward. So surrendering to power during this time, which is what all moons have us do. We're surrendering to power in so many different ways. It says surrender to the divine. And we surrender to the divine. We surrender to this power through a greater understanding of ourselves, but also through looking at the wounds that we have, looking through the hurts and the pains and the disappointments and the angers and the upsets and the upheavals. So with Venus, the Sun, and Chiron in alignment, this has us looking at our wounds very openly, very honestly. Not that we have to share them with other people because we're not going to want to, but because we're going to highlight within our souls, within ourselves, where we have been wounded, because Chiron is called the wounded warrior. And we're going to see where we have been wounded, what embodies these wounds, and how we heal from these wounds, because Venus is, of course, love. And Venus, though here powered by Aries, it also rules Libra. So there's this huge sense of what can I do to move me forward? And also, what can I do for others to have us moving forward in the harmony and abundance that we need? So we have the full moon in Libra, which says here, a win-win outcome is forecast. There is a sense of things coming to a head, coming to alignment, coming into balance. And as we see this, we're also really embracing Mercury and Neptune in Pisces, which is telling us to get out of our own heads, to start the forgiving process, and also to look at our ancestral hurts, look at our DNA hurts, the pains that we've inherited from one generation to another, or that our caregivers have given us in one way or another. And we're starting to break these patterns. And they've been long held patterns. And it's like, finally, I feel a bit free. I feel liberated. This is going to very much be a liberating moon, a freedom moon for us during this time. It's like, I've been waiting to breathe this sigh of relief. And it's because the Grand Trine brings with it, okay, so the Grand Trine is the moon forms a perfect triangle with Saturn and with Mars. And these are very powerful planets. And so what they bring with us, to us, is they bring protection and harmony and ease. It's kind of like, oh, I can handle things a bit better now. Because both Mars and Saturn are astoundingly intense. And they're causing us to become more determined, more motivated, and to have great staying power, which is never really the Leo problem, right? But here it's having the confidence within ourselves. It's not saying, I have to do this or else I've automatically failed. It's saying, I want to do this because I want to push myself out of my comfort zone. I want to look at things differently. I want to land on my feet. I want to see things through more empowered eyes. And as we do so, we start to see ourselves more clearly, more openly, more honestly, and coming into balance with who we are and where we want to be. Now, the planets that are really affected by this moon's alignment are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So if we have these within our natal charts, wherever these come up, okay, these zodiac signs come up, is going to be where we are more affected and where our personality is more hit. So Libra wants us to love, to forgive, to move forward, and we need to really balance the conflict that we have, the hurt that's coming up, with the sense of, I just want to make everything better. I just want to make everything smooth. So we have this huge love for people, but we can't put people before ourselves. And it's not in a selfish way or an egotistical way. It's saying, be careful and find this balance. Be careful and know our truth. Because as we do so, we're resolving so many conflicts. Now, the new moon is, of course, in Aries. And I just keep on seeing this very powerful link. And it can be because fire energy attracts fire energy, right? So here, it can be that. But Leo, I have this very powerful link. Spirit is showing me to the Aries new moon, but to Aries in general, to this time period in general. A lot of things are going to be kind of birthed by fire, but forged through fire. So a lot of things are going to be cleansed, are going to be reshaped, are going to be made clearer than they were before. And it says beginnings, and a new start is coming, and new beginnings are coming. It's like there is a new way to move forward in a new pursuit, in a new desire. It's kind of like opening up a new chapter. And it brings us here to the fact that it's time for action. And it's time to take the bull by the horns. It's time to go after what we want. Because in the end, when we come to, and this new moon, of course, is on the 12th of April, when we come to this next full moon, which is on the 27th of April in Scorpio, it's like finally everything kind of starts to make sense because it's time to release the negativity. We've done all this work to clean house. We've done all this work to embrace our own personal powers. And now it's time to say, I'm out with the negativity. I'm out with the hurt. I'm out with the pain. And I'm in with the power and the focus and the determination that is me. And it moves us to our spirit animals for this time, which is the wolf spirit and the whale spirit. The whale spirit says, trust the great mysteries. The wolf spirit says, the knowledge turns into wisdom, which is what life is all about. It's all about turning knowledge into wisdom. And the fact that we're trusting in the great mysteries, we don't have to know everything. And that's one of the things that this moon is going to make so abundantly clear to us. We can't know everything. We won't know everything, but we will balance it the best we can. We will come into harmony and we will clear out what is overwhelming us, what is trying to defeat us, and what is holding us back. So with the whale spirit, the really cool thing about the whale spirit is that it's also seen as the record keeper of the earth, which I just think is so absolutely beautiful. Just the song of the whales and the harmony of the whales. And so here, there is this sense of coming into vibrational alignment with what we desire, with how we want to move forward, with seeing things a bit more clearly. And it's listening to our inner voice. It's listening to the vibrational energy, how we feel, how things make us feel, how we are, intrigued emotionally and also released emotionally from different bonds or different hurts or different things that we'll look back and say, well, that was a mistake and I should have been kinder to myself. It leads us then to the wolf spirit, which again, it's turning knowledge into wisdom, but it's sharpening our intellect. It's saying, wow, what is it that I want to connect to? And feeling deeply connected to this desire for freedom, this desire for independence of voice, of strong instincts of self, and really seeing where we fit into the hierarchy of the world and claiming our space. It's going to be very important to claim our space. Turning knowledge into wisdom is what life is all about, and that's what we live for. And then when it comes to April, the spirit animals for April are the hawk spirit and once again the wolf spirit. So again, we're turning knowledge into wisdom. But here, we are letting spirit guide us. And so it says, let spirit guide you, because the hawk spirit is the messenger of the spirit world, and it's telling us to embrace our power and to embrace our focus, to have clear vision, to see things clearly as they are, not as we are interpreting them to be, or letting kind of emotions or logic fear us into believing. It's kind of like, step back, look with innocent new eyes. I just see it like with child's eyes, and this then increases our spiritual awareness because we're not coming with biases. And that's going to be very important as we move forward. Now, the chakra energy for this time is inner strength, which is what Leo is all about, right? And sometimes we really do wish that not so much strength, not so much hardship was thrown our way. But there is a sense here with the solar plexus chakra of trusting our gut, but also trusting that instinct of feeling secure, of feeling bountiful, of knowing what we desire. The solar plexus are it's our second brain, right? The gut is our second brain. And so there is this powerful understanding that is fueling us, that is leading us forward, that is opening up different doors. And we're going to see us breaking a shell. And it's that hard exterior we've had to put on in order to say, I can handle this. I can handle what life throws at me. And at times we just don't want to have to be so strong. And I'm not saying here, well, spirit isn't saying to be weak or to be, easily overwhelmed, but it's saying we don't have to be so, I can just handle it. It doesn't bother me. Letting our emotions come forward during this time when we're in deep need of balancing these emotions is going to be so powerfully influential. And the spirit guide message here is centered, is to be centered, is for us to be centered within our emotions, within what we desire, within what we're looking for. And it's a sense of centering ourselves in our world. And that's what we see in the public arena. It's like, I have to center me before I can balance everything else. Because there is a sense of kind of wanting to run before we could walk. And that's just going to make us fall and get frustrated and get overwhelmed. So we're starting here with the 10 of Swords. And it's very interesting that the 10 of Swords leads to the Tower, because the 10 of Swords is my minor arcana death card. So it's the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new, the looking at things differently, because we have this wealth of knowledge. And it's very much connecting with the wolf spirit that follows us from March into April, that says, turn knowledge into wisdom. And this is turning the knowledge that had once defeated us, that had once made us feel overwhelmed, that had once silenced our voice, into the wisdom that we live by and the wisdom that we're inspired by. There is a sense of greater power, greater understanding, greater knowledge, greater truth coming forward. But it comes through a resurrection. It comes through an empowering of self, a greater understanding of what we desire, and a real look at what we want within our world, because we're not going to be the person that we once were. And there can have to be a bit of a mourning period. And we can see that during this moon, we have tremendous empathy for those around us, yes, but also for ourselves, what we have been through, what we have had to endure, and the way that we want to just kind of like be that force that says, just do it, just keep on moving forward, just keep on going after what we desire. And there's a real sense here of needing to pay homage to the pain that has been a part of us, and needing to sit for a moment in that darkness and say, I can live my whole life here. And people choose to live their whole life in the darkness of the 10 of Swords, in the hurts and the pains that were supposed to be lessons, learned to inspire and to move forward from, and to empower by, and to be empowered by, but become the sticking point, become the things that we can never move past, that just absolutely shatter us. And so here we're looking at those type of times, and we're saying, no, I don't get to be shattered. I don't get to give up. I I am resurrecting. I am finding my greater power, my greater strength, my greater understanding, because I've been through a tower time. I've been pushed out of my comfort zone. I've been through the ringer, and have had to see things quite differently than I had to see them before. And there's a sense here of power, of understanding, of greater truth, of greater determination, of focus, because divinity has pushed us out of our comfort zone, has made us see things in a light that maybe we don't want to. It's like, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for. And I just keep on seeing the conflict between the Libra moon and the Aries sun being so intense here. So there are going to be things where we're just kind of like, why is this so intense? Like, why do I feel so conflicted? Why do I feel like I'm pulled in two very distinct and powerful different directions? One is telling me, to heal and to become, and the other is telling me to just keep going, don't look back. And both are going to be true. It's going to need them to come into harmony with each other, to say, okay, I need to heal. I need to respect what I have been through, because it has been hard, but it also has been like an alchemy that has completely morphed and changed how I see myself, who I am, what I desire, and what I want. And it leads us to knowing that I can just do it. I can just keep on pushing forward and seeing through determination, but also kindness, that so much can be achieved, and that I wasn't meant to stay where I once was. And there can need to be a mourning for this, because it can be quite overwhelming. But it brings us to the Page of Swords. It brings us to being a real student within our inner selves during this moon, because it brings up so much. It brings up so much of what we have been through, so much of what we have doubted, so much of what has, kind of kept us on our toes. And with the Page of Swords, it's just like, I can't go so fast. So there's a need for speed during this reading. I can feel it from spirit. It's like, okay, say everything, get everything concise and done just perfectly. And it's causing a bit of anxiety. And that's where we're going to need to step back and say, no, I can take my time a bit, and I can look at things a bit more centered around what I need, what I want, what I'm looking at, what I'm discovering within myself, and being the page of the mind, which is what the swords represent. It's being a page, of being a student of our way forward, of how it is that we're assessing situations, of what it is that we're thinking about, but it's also becoming a student of the breath, because air is also represented by the swords. So here, there is a sense of really focusing on the breath, of breathing techniques and the air that fills our lungs, the power that moves us forward, the determination that we have. There's new ways of looking at things, and there's puzzle pieces coming together, and there's greater insights leading us forward. And it leads us to really being inspired by this moon. Now, the moon, of course, connects us to Pisces energy, which is a time period of February 19th to March 20th. But there is a sense of this moon being so intensely powerful for who we are and where we're headed and what we desire. And it's laying so much raw, but it's also opening up things so honestly for us. It's making us face fears. It's like, what if I never? And it's like, okay, so what if I never? What if that doesn't happen? Would that be the end of the world? If the answer is yes, then we better darn well make sure that it's not never. That we work towards these goals, that we embrace these avenues. If this has to do with another person, this is a time where we find out we're stronger than what other people think we are, or than other people think we are. And it's kind of like we're more than what others have assumed about us. And this is a time where we start to prove people wrong, because it's very important to us. We're facing our fears, we're kind of pulling things together, we're understanding things more succinctly, more powerfully, more in tune with who we are and where we want to be. And this leads us to facing these fears head on and saying, you don't get to rule me. But this also brings us to really embracing the reflective light of determination, the reflective light of our fire sign instincts, of go and conquer and do and achieve. Leo has more staying power, okay? So when Leo goes after something, when we go after something, there's staying power to it. But when Aries goes after something, there's this burst of energy, this kind of like storming of the castle, right? And it's this huge burst, and then things kind of die down. So we're going to try and keep and want to keep up that Aries initial, that's what Spirit kept on saying with Aries. Okay, keep up that initial Aries burst that pulls us forward, because we're going to think, oh, that's the momentum that I'm going to have to need throughout this whole entire time, and we're going to use it with our Leo logic. And what Spirit is saying here is like, no, let the burst come. Let us see things in that certain way, with that fire, with that intensity. And then let us step back and then embrace the Leo energy, which is actually going to be a little bit tied down from the Aries energy. So don't try to make yourself move forward in a greater force than is actually going to be reasonable for our well-being. And it leads us here to the Wheel of Fortune. Things start to change. We're crowned with 2 tens, all right, and then we're crowned with a 2. Things start to change. And we start to see us connecting with others a little bit more openly, but also really honestly with where we want to be and how we want to move forward. The Wheel of Fortune changes the game. And the Wheel of Fortune shows us stepping into a new season. Sometimes it's not exactly the season that we want. We always love, beginnings of things, and summer's really easy, beautiful times. But winters can get hard. And if you're like me, you can find January and February to be very hard to kind of pull through. And so here with the Wheel of Fortune, it's kind of like whatever season we find ourselves in, there's going to be beauty and purpose to it. There's going to be power and reason to it. And being able to embrace that is going to be so intrinsically important for us. Things are changing, and we're going to find ourselves changing, but also our heart's focus changing during this time. Emotionally, what we want, what we desire, starts to become more clear, but it also starts to shift a bit. It's like, what were my dreams once upon a time? It's not that I'm letting go of my dreams. It's that they're growing up with me, and they're maturing with me, and I'm seeing them have this beautiful shift towards, excuse me, actualization. And it leads us to the Lovers. It leads us to falling in love with life, but it also leads us to this duality that is a part of this moon. The Aries energy, the Libra energy that is in conflict, but also kind of finding this harmony through this conflict, through this kind of chord that at first doesn't sound right, but then we realize is absolutely beautiful and what we've been missing. And it kind of sets the vibrational tone for this time. And again, it starts off with being out of harmony. It's like, ooh, that doesn't sound right. But then it's like we start to fiddle with things a bit, we start to tune things a bit, and things start to come into harmony more and more. It's really embracing the Taoist statement of this and that is true. And that's going to be empowering for this time, because there are different ways forward. There are different ways of looking at things. There's logic, and there's reason, and there's emotion, and there's art, and there is beauty, and we have to embrace all of these. And we're going to find ourselves very inclined towards beauty during this time, towards the essence of things, and towards wanting to compromise, which I know really isn't a Leo thing, but we're going to find ourselves saying, well, why not? Why not kind of meet halfway? Why not look at things differently? And we're going to find ourselves looking at things through different eyes more often and more often. And the moon really infects, it like infects our inner self. It gets into our minds, into ourselves, and we start to see things in a very different and very powerful way. It opens up our hearts, and it's saying to our hearts, fall in love with life again, fall in love with ourselves again, fall in love with our power, with our reason, with our understanding, with our beauty, with our truth. And it brings us then to the King of Swords. So the moon goes from being a student of our inner selves to being the king, the ruler of our hearts. And that makes sense, once again, because Libra is ruled by Venus. So this moon becomes a ruler of our emotions, of what we desire, of where it is that we want to be, of how it is that we want to move forward. But also the King of Swords is the warrior king. We're not going to be putting up with a lot of bull during this time. I mean, people can argue, okay, Leos don't put up with bull, but also there is a lot that we deal with that people don't understand. And so here, with the King of Swords energy, it's I'm cutting through doubts and fears, I'm claiming my power, I'm knowing my strength, but I'm also cutting through a lot of lies, a lot of things that don't ring true, that won't ring true, that aren't going to help me move forward, that aren't where I need to be, and that are holding me back emotionally, spiritually, personally, powerfully. And I get to embrace where I want to be within my life and how I want to move forward within my day-to-day existence. The King of Swords is not playing. And there's a part of our hearts here that is saying, I'm connecting with my logic. I'm looking at what I emotionally want, yes, but also what I spiritually want, what I desire, what needs to move me forward. And this isn't a time for frivolity. This is a time for intensity. And the intensity can get super intense. So sometimes we need to step back during this moon, but we get this hyper focus coming forward in this, and this focus on knowledge, but also on the air that empowers us, that emboldens our words, that fuels our words, and we start to see ourselves really speaking from the heart. And we might actually be surprising ourselves with how honest we are and how emotionally connected to things we get. And it leads us to the Eight of Wands. Things start changing. Things start, excuse me, moving forward. We have them changing with the Tower, right? Being pushed out of our comfort zone. And this is something that we've dealt with. Now, this could be for 16 years or 16 on 16 years. This could be for 16 months. Like it depends. But there is a sense, this could even be since some of us were 16, which makes a lot of sense. There's a sense here of things really changing. And the Eight of Wands is saying, ready or not, here it comes. We're going to be swept away in big ways and in small ways. But they're going to be ways that deeply impact us and deeply influence us. And it leads us to the Two of Pentacles. We're always trying to balance everything. And we're always trying to do everything. We have to step back. We're going to need to step back and to really be honest with ourselves and say, I can't do everything. I can't balance everything. And what's more important, I don't want to. I don't want to be balancing everything in the air at the expense of myself, sacrificing myself for something that I'm not seeing the payoff of. Because it's not only doing everything for everybody else, because it might not be doing everything for everybody else, but it's looking at other people's goals and other people's dreams and other people's wants and saying, okay. And it's like, no, it gets to be a time where I get to look at the way that I need to move forward, at the focus and the balance that guides me, that drives me. And it brings us to a place where we start to really connect with divinity in the public arena. And instead of saying, okay, I got this and I'm always going to get this, it's like, have patience. Have patience and see the bounty that is coming forward. Have patience and look at things in a different way, through different eyes, with different understanding. And what Spirit is saying here is like, step back and connect with me. And in the public arena, this means not engaging all the time. It's like, okay, people can have their way of doing things, their way of seeing things. I get it. But I'm going to connect with my divinity, with my truth, with what I desire within my life, with the way that I need to move forward. And I'm really going to start to have patience for myself and not need everything instantaneously like we human beings so, love, but to say, I can wait and I can discover and I can become and I can see things through different eyes and with a more rooted understanding in what is true, bountiful, and beautiful for me and for my life. And it brings us in the public arena to the world opening, because we're not needing to control it. The world opening and growing in such a way that it becomes more than we anticipated, more than we knew, more than we could have imagined. The world doesn't become the scary place. No, it becomes this beautiful place. This place that our hearts get to connect to, this place that our souls get to be driven by, this place where we start to see things more truly, more openly, more honestly, for ourselves, for what we want, and for the place that we want to be within our lives. The world opens and we open to the world, which I think is even more beautiful, is that we're looking at things and saying, yeah, it's time. It really is time. And it brings us to being the defenders, being the knights, being the defenders of our goals, of our dreams, of looking at what it is that we want from life and saying, there is so much more here than I ever realized. We can be rather defensive during this time. Why? Because we're dealing with a lot. We have a lot of energies that are coming our way. We have a lot of people that are coming our way. We have a lot of things that are happening. So people might say, oh, your armor's on. Oh, you're being defensive. Oh, you always seem ready for a fight. It's like, no, kind of, but not really. We're ready for a change, and we desperately want that change. It's kind of like if you have long hair, or if you've had long hair and you desperately want to change, so you just cut it all off one day. That's the type of change that we want during this moon. We want things to become more harmonious, more balanced, but also different and exciting and new and adventurous. And with this time in our world, it can feel a little bit overwhelming or stifling or, crazy. And so here with the Knight of Wands, it's like we're defending what we want to create, the magic that we're bringing forward, the dreams that we have, and the hopes and the passions that drive us. Now let's see what the moon has to say about this time. How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels. Oh, goodness. How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Blossoming, creation, and change. Ooh, I like that. Hunger, working through the fears. Prosperity lies ahead. The energy gains momentum. The answers are coming. Your commitment is being tested. So we're blossoming into our creativity, is what the moon is telling us right here. Blossoming into our creation, into what we are creating, to what we desire, into, our ways forward in life. And it's changing us. It's changing us the way that we have been. It's funny because Spirit is saying it's changing us the way that we have been changed. So what Spirit is saying here is that we're changing because divinity hasn't given us an option. It's like, this is going to move you forward. This is what's happening. And at times it's felt like life was out of our control. But now there is a sense of us being able to see the power within those changes, the power within the way that we're moving forward, the twists and the turns and the kind of, oh my gosh, moments that we're really looking at and saying, oh, wow. And we hunger for the release of fears. And we hunger for the change that is coming. And we hunger to work through our fears and not be held back anymore. And there's this huge shift that comes forward. And it says prosperity lies ahead. So don't be worried. It's like there's prosperity that's coming, and it's a little bit more beautiful than we've imagined. And it leads us to the energy gaining momentum. We're gaining momentum, the need for change, the need for taking action, the need for, insights and determination starts to change us, starts to guide us. And it brings us to the answers are coming. The answers we need are coming. The answers we long for are coming. Because the world is opening to us and there's new ways forward. And it leads us to our commitment being tested. Because as the world opens to us, we have to be sure we want to walk through that way. We're being tested, and we're finding our strength. We're finding we're finding more strength. We're finding us more determined, more focused, more driven than we would have imagined us to be. It leads us to our subconscious message from the moon, which is release. We're releasing so much negativity. And there's such a beautiful connection with the full moon in Scorpio on the 27th of April, where we're going to see ourselves releasing so much that just isn't wanted anymore. And it brings us to go deeper into that message and to have faith in our dreams. So we're releasing the poison, we're releasing the negativity, and we're finding that we're having faith in our dreams again. There's starting to be hope. And hope is the only thing left in Pandora's box after she opened it, right? So it is the most powerful of all the attributes in the world. If we can hope, we can create and we can exist. The subconscious chakra message is holistic health, which is one of my favorites. It's the root chakra. It's saying, listen to the body, listen to our holistic self, start a more natural path and embracing a more spiritual truth when it comes to our health and our well-being and our bounty. And so that's going to be a really powerful shift. And that's the root chakra right here. So we're looking at our holistic health at the very root of us. It brings us to our subconscious spirit guide message, which is devoted. We become devoted to our lives, to what we dream, to what we want, to our desires. And it lights that devotion within us. And it brings us to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Six of Pentacles. Things have to come back in balance. We can't give and give and give, and in return we can't take and take and take and not have things be in balance. The balance is going to be sacred during this time. This is my minor arcana, justice card, which is representative of Libra. So Libra's coming through once again to say this is a time where we need to be in harmony. And that harmony, at times it does come at a cost, but it does come with great realizations, great focus, great determination, great truth. And so we're finding ourselves drawing the line in the sand and saying, this is what's right for me. This is what I desire. This is what I need. And this is my way forward. And it's beautiful. All right, Leo, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we know that great things lie ahead and that we've been changing for a reason, for a power, for a purpose, and that the extraordinary is becoming part of our ordinary. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Leo.